the strike. Yes, because it really is quite important. One of the things that we are worried about as actors will eventually affect every single person in this room. And that is the use of artificial intelligence. Does the ability to use artificial intelligence enable you to take part of me and part of Brad Pitt and combine the two together and make some, mind you, I would look a little bit more handsome now. Allow you to create a character that you could then patent and use forever without any acknowledgements to the great qualities of Mr. Pitt and the lesser qualities of J.R.D. Who owns any part of your individual characteristic? Do you have any rights over it? And you see, we have let a demon out of the jar. And that demon is artificial intelligence. Those of you who are really into this probably know that that Norwegian philosopher Nick Bostrom. And Bostrom's paperclips is a great mind experiment. If you set a really intelligent machine that was capable, as a machine could become, the task of maximizing the number of paperclips, it would say, oh yes, I can do this. Now, let us go through the things that I need to make paperclips. Iron, yes. Small quantities of other steels, minerals, yes. I can source those from there, and there. What could stop me making paperclips? Power shortage. Power switched off. Who switches off power? Humans. Okay, we will eliminate the whole prospect of being switched off. Let us eliminate humans. It's all to make as many paperclips as we can. Now, we don't think that way. You know, we would go, daft, it's not even a question. A machine does not necessarily have those built-in moderators of behavior. And we cannot tell. I mean, that's such an obvious thing. But we can't tell whether there is some other strange thing that actually could be terminal to human life on the planet or life on the planet. Until you tell the machine everything and cover every aspect of its thing, then an intelligent machine will still try and find a way around to eliminate the worst possible thing that could happen to it. We've let the demon out of the bottle and we'll never get him back in. And how does this relate to you and your lives? Well, artificial intelligence is already beginning to lose jobs for people. The first one to go was a legal team. All lawyers used to have case references, and there used to be a legal researcher who would look up all the cases that relate to automobile accidents happening in conjunction with a scaffolding fall in the United States. That job's gone because the lawyer can just press 3 buttons now and he's got every darn case coming out. It will go further than that. I think the next, any one of us who works in the creative industry, you can already get stories written for you by semi-articulate artificial intelligence. In the end, as far as the studios are concerned, the technology isn't quite there yet. But let's take digital copy of Rhys-Davies Let us run his vocabulary from every film we've got and every reference we've got. We can access those easily enough. Every time he speaks at a fan convention, we will hear something. Let's record that, digitalize that, and then perhaps we can actually add a tweak, saying, so he's speaking Russian sometime, like that, you know, and we can make that, we can expand that, or German, or anything like that. Let's make him a bit taller, and let's make him just a little bit fatter and older, you know. We can do anything we like to. And we can make a script and a story that uses him as a sort of Salah figure. And we can do that all at my desk, first things in the morning. I press the button and I've got a perfect script with some samples of how we're going to do the film. And we can probably get the whole film out in a week or a month. We don't have to pay the writers, we don't have to pay the actors. All we have to do is pay the cleaning man and the guy who makes sure the computer's working. Of course, whether there is an audience for that is another question, because if you try to do it today, the technology isn't there. They cannot effectively do that today. But don't ask me about next week or next month, because it will come, and it is nearly there. In the end, I think our profession, the profession of being an actor, is in the short run, and by that I mean for the next younger generation of actors, it's going to be quite perilous. The old thing is, though, we will get back where we belong, on the boards. You remember Lope de Vega, the great Spanish dramatist, who said, what is drama? 2 boards for the actors to stand on. 2 boards and a passion. And those actors who will survive, and they will always survive, they are, after all, the second oldest profession, I believe. Thank you. Grown-ups. They will survive, and we will get back to live theatre. But of course, it will be a lot harder, and it will be a far smaller industry. And that's just my industry. And I suppose the point that laboriously I'm getting round to is that if we can get some rights recognized, as indeed some of the writers have got them recognized, that there are some licensing issues involved with the creation of characters or the adaptation of actors' characteristics, then that becomes a sort of legal precedent for you when it comes your turn to restrict the power of your personality, your talents being copied and slightly altered and copyrighted for somebody else. We're surprisingly all going to be in this together, and it's going to happen a lot quicker than we think. I personally think we're heading for a perfect storm of labor being basically superannuated. Of course, you can always get people who say, well, of course, the new technology, the new robotics, the new AI will create new jobs, and that is very true. But it's hard to see how you're going to retrain truck drivers, how you're going to retrain postmen, really. I mean, are we all going to be flying sort of little drones and delivering things? It's one of those very interesting periods of history when our technology is developing faster than we are capable of adapting to it. We will, if we survive as a species, we will come out through the other side. But the truth of the matter is our technology is really telling us there are too many of us. And that curious acceptance of capitalism. We accept capitalism because the benefits percolate through all society. everyone does well, if the economy does well, if the great innovators create work, create jobs, create opportunities, the whole economy develops. But what is happening at the moment, if you look at, if we'd been having this conversation 10 years, 20 years ago, I would have said, you know, half of the world's wealth is owned by about 500 or 600 people. If we'd had this conversation 5 years ago, I would have said, you know, more than half of the world's wealth is actually owned by about 300 people. Now we're probably down to just over 100 people. The basis of capitalism is, the pyramid is going like that. And that's very dangerous, because if there is no capitalism, then the other alternatives become appetizing and interesting, and we will lose. The power of the state will grow. And a powerful state that has robotics and has cameras will be controlled. And there are disquieting shifts of opinion here in America. A number of Americans, apparently, no longer are confident that democracy is the way to go ahead. Let me tell you, I have worked in the old communist states. I have seen what happens when you get failed states. I've known them, I've lived there. I've even seen the wars there. Trust democracy, make it work. Do not abandon your belief in one man, one vote. Of course, in Africa, when I was a boy, the old cynical thing was one man, one vote, one time. And that you don't want. Preserve your Constitution. Preserve your rights as American citizens to be equal and free. And do not be seduced by the attractions of somebody who can get it done. The Führer could get it done. Mussolini could get it done. And the last thing you want is a Führer or a Mussolini or a Putin or a Pol Pot, all of whom can get it done. Better your own. Sorry about that. Yes. Actors should never talk about politics, but it's not really about politics. It's about Western democracy and Western civilization and the civilizing effect of art and culture and the ideas of freedom. And that we must always protect.
And no amount of technology can replace this.
Oh yes. Artificial intelligence could do that perfectly and better. It would reference Locke. You know, Locke is the man who gives you the origins of that great thing in your Constitution. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Jefferson is actually quoting John Locke, who was talking about life, liberty, and property as being the inalienable rights. But Jefferson did not want to put property in there because he did not want to build the notion that slavery was acceptable in the United States Constitution. So he comes up with this mellifluous thing, the pursuit of happiness. It's wonderful, but it's wholly misleading. If you pursue happiness, I guarantee you will not find it. Happiness, and it has been discussed by ancient philosophers, I think it's Aristotle. Aristotle says that happiness is the byproduct of virtuous activity. In other words, you work hard at something, you're doing something, what you're doing is good. And you go home that night and you think, God, I'm happy. That's what a great day that has been. But that's not to criticize your Constitution, which I love and revere. Hey, sorry about that.
Well, even with all of that, it's still, when you see a gentleman like this, I know it inspires a lot of people. Do we have some actors out here, or people that wanted to see? There's still people that want to do it, and do it so well as they have for so many generations now. Oh, what kind of advice do you give to people when they want to go into this? Because it can be so fantastic, and it's why we're all here.
Well, it's always tricky, you see, because the dumbest thing you can do is choose to be an actor. Why? Because there is no structure. If you've got half a brain and a bit of diligence, you can join a good company and work your way up through the ranks, and you can get to the very top of that company. You know, it's partly dead men's shoes, but partly you learn how to do the job. And you are so good in what you're doing at that point there that people say, you know, she should be a supervisor by now. Let's make her a supervisor. And that area expands. And you know what? She's so good, she must have other branches. Actually, let's give her territories. You know what? She should be on the board. You know what? There is nobody better fitted to be the CEO of this company than her. You've got that structure. And, you know, as long as you turn up and do what you should do, look after your boss, look after the company, do your job properly, look after the customers, then that will sort of happen. But with an actor, there's no reason why the film should ever go again. I mean, there is absolutely no reason why anybody will ever want to employ John Rhys-Davies after now. Now, look at me, I'm getting old, I'm stupid, you know, I can barely walk straight anymore, because that old plane crash that I had in '85 is hurting the ankle, and the hip that I used to barge through that door, still give me some twinges there. There is no reason that the film will ever go again. And perhaps at the age of 25, 26, 28, the phone may have stopped going for you as a young actor, but you don't know that it's over. I won't know that it's over. I don't know it's over now. The trick will be, of course, if you do manage to survive, is to assume that this is the last job. You know? So if this is the last job, I'm going to do it as well as I can. I'm not going to be a prima donna. I'm going to serve my fellow actors. I'm going to serve the script. I'm going to honor the writers. I'm going to make the director look wonderful. And if that's it, that's how I'm walking out. JRD did a great job, and he was great fun to work with, and that's it. Now, if you keep doing that, there's just a chance that the phone may continue to ring. And we're counting on that, please.
Yes. Well, if you're okay with it, I love it when we get a chance to let you guys ask questions. We have a couple of good ones out here. Her brave, her soul. There we go in the back there. There's a roaming microphone coming your way.